Good afternoon from Bali, everyone. It's Hanifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I thought I would share some of my contemplation with you, and it's of course about healthcare, which is of course my focus. Yet I'm in Indonesia, and in Indonesia, much of the industry here is about hospitality. And then, of course, I'm very interested in community health. So the community that's right around me, the community that's a bit farther, so all of Indonesia, or the community of the world. So I thought I would bring this quotation as the first step in this video. This quotation says, "The health of a community is an almost unfailing index of its morals." The health of a community is an almost unfailing index of its morals. Now, what is the health of a community? Do we see, if any community that we are living in, we will always know someone who's not so well, whether it's a physical illness or a mental emotional concern, and yet we can turn a blind eye to it. And that's the health of the community, is to see, do we look at it, do we ask about it, do we avoid it? This is part of the health of a community. When we look at this healthcare and hospitality, I thought it was important to come back to this very important quotation by Hippocrates. And Hippocrates, of course, as many of you may know, was a philosopher and a physician. And so this is what he said. He said, "I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug." Can you believe that? I just love that quotation. I decided I had to double take myself for saying it. I'd like to read it again so that you can think about these words. It says, "I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug." This is interesting. When we think about this, isn't this exactly what we want in healthcare or hospitality? We would want warmth, sympathy, and understanding. We look at hospitality, whether someone is being served a meal, or whether someone is being welcomed into a new stay, or that there is the thankfulness for the stay already. Someone has stayed at a particular hotel for any length of time, and whether it's 1 day or 5 days, we want to feel the warmth, sympathy, and understanding. And yet, we'd also like to hear that or feel that in healthcare. Now I come back to that first quotation that I shared. The health of a community is its almost unfailing index of its morals. Now what happens is, no matter which industry we might look at, so we can look at education this way too, if there's a private institution and people are paying high dollars to be at a private institution in education, those members, those students, those families are treated very well because they're paying quite a large fee. And it's not because there's warmth and understanding. This isn't really where it's coming from. It's coming from, there's an appreciation for the money being brought in, and this happens again in every industry. If there is, "I'm getting something from you," which is transactional, then I can be very warm and understanding, and I might give more time, I might give more effort. There was the sympathy. So someone's running late, but they're going to stay at a particular hotel for a month, and it's like, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it's you got here, that's okay. Someone's staying for 1 day and they're arriving at the last hour of their stay, and you know that a room has to be prepared for the next person that will be staying. There might not be the same kindness. There will be more the, we need the room now, so we can't even let you in. That's natural. That's the same that happens in a doctor's office, where if you're late for your appointment, it's the next patient is waiting. And so maybe some of that warmth, sympathy, and understanding gets a little less present. And this is interesting that, again, we need to do this in terms of how we train students to be either practitioners of healthcare of any sort or of hospitality, because hospitality, again, I'd like to say that it's very similar, that there is the care of a person's health, and whether it's by the foods that are eaten at the hotel's location or somewhere in the near location. There might be just the convenience, so I think you'll like this food, or this food's really tasty, or you're a vegan, I know a vegan place. So it might be very specific that way. But if we think about which is a place I would like to recommend, even if as a practitioner I recommend to another practitioner, I would want that someone is getting warmth, compassion, understanding, some empathy, some sympathy, all of that energy. It's the same that if a hotel is recommending something, a service, if we can try to make sure that it's not just so that this business grows. So if there's spa services within a particular hotel, oftentimes those are the ones that are recommended. But if a person is also aware that, oh, there's a different location, this person's got foot problems right now, perhaps reflexology would be more useful, but we only have regular massage at our hotel. Does that hospitality hotel have the kindness, compassion, and integrity to actually base it on the needs of the person that is in front of them? That's the same thing for education. Do we have this compassion, this sympathy, and this understanding of who we are speaking to and how to direct them, and in what manner, with that care and compassion for their needs, not our needs? So this idea, of course, I also started thinking about just the health in a community and how is the community being served here. And I do know that there's different hospitals here for different people. So sometimes there's the locals hospital, there's the public hospital, and then there's the hospital that's more for expats or international travelers, and of course different costs at both of these, and perhaps a little bit of a different service. Yet if the service industry is the same, it would not be any different there than at a local hospital, is it? I found this quotation, I thought that was very good for this idea. It says, "It is very expensive to give bad medical care to poor people in a rich country." You would think, wow, why am I talking about a rich country when I'm speaking of a third world versus first world? And yet I think it's the same. It says we do have a certain pocket of wealth in every single country. And when we know that we've got that richness coming into the country, and we all know that every country is trying to grow in different ways, but to not give the proper medical care to people that are poor within a community, within a rich country, this says a lot about our service. And these are, again, both service industries. I'm talking about service of healthcare, and this service of healthcare comes through hospitality and or healthcare as we define it, maybe a more medical type treatment, or maybe a spa treatment, maybe a natural treatment, something for healing, which often people are on a vacation to go for some healing or some space from their day-to-day busyness. And yet we come into another country and there's the same busyness with different sorts of aspects. And if we actually care about, it's not just about me, but how am I contributing in this time to those around me? So of course, in the service industry, very important to know that even if there's lots of less wealthy people around and you're serving really fancy meals at your hotel, do you speak to the less wealthy people around you that you don't know personally with the same care and consideration that you would speak to people paying a hefty price for a meal at the hotel? This is something for us all to reflect on, because again, this service needs to be consistent and stemming from the place that we start and then expanding to others. So this idea, of course, led me into another aspect that I have thought about for quite some time, and perhaps you've heard of this term too, because I see it a lot here in Indonesia. I know I saw it in Thailand. I do know that it happens in North America too, because there's different healthcare services around and available in different countries. But this idea of medical tourism also comes up. And this quotation says, medical tourism isn't just about travel, it's about trust. Medical tourism, there's a lot of people that have started using it more as a reason or an excuse to travel. This surgery needs to be done, cost is better over there and it's not even offered over here, or I trust those practitioners more than here. Whichever way, trust is there. Can we build the trust in whichever community that we are in? And this means that whether I work in hospitality, whether I work in healthcare, doesn't really matter, whether I work in education, the message is the same. The people that I serve, do I allow them to have full trust? And with that full trust, is it ongoing, or is it once they're not in my care anymore and they reach out to me, I don't really have time to speak with them. It's just a hello and, oh yeah, thanks for being in touch. Or I don't reach out to them because of course life gets busy. Do I send it energetically that all of the people that I have worked with, let me send them energies of healing if I work in healing, of hospitable energies if I work in hospitality, because hospitality can happen at home, and oftentimes people who work in hospitality are not very hospitable at home. Very important to know, and very important for us to watch ourselves. Of, are we, to the people that we care about the most, that we come home to every day, are we in that hospitable mood or service space, or is it only for guests that we see, whether in our own home or whether in our workplace? We need to see, are we being consistent with each person we meet? So this idea, again, medical tourism isn't just about travel, it's about trust. And when people are coming from another country, often they trust the country they're coming to. Why? They've paid a certain cost. Now, our families don't need to pay a cost to have our trust, yet do we show that in a way that's undeniable? Because we can. And of course, in another video, I'll talk a little bit more about medical tourism, because some students watching this might be interested in studying this, and I suspect it's a good direction to go. At the same time, it's the same root that we need, this trust, this compassion, this idea of care that I believe a lot of healthcare and hospitality is not actually showing so much right now. This needs to be consistent in whether we're speaking with a family member or speaking with a friend or speaking with the person we're working for, as in our boss, or the client that we're working for. This consistency needs practice, and so today I would encourage us all to practice, but at least reflect on some of these thoughts. And I'd like to finish with another Hippocrates quote, because again, Hippocrates being such a central figure in medicine, it says, wherever the art of medicine is loved, there is also a love of humanity. I love that. Of course you know I would. It says, wherever the art of medicine is loved, there is also a love of humanity. And remember that we are practicing medicine in the care that we give to each other, no matter which environment we're in, no matter whether we have a title of a doctor, a nurse, a healthcare provider, or just a friend. Wherever we are practicing the medicine of love, care, compassion. Today, I wish us all to practice those energies, and I'd love for you to reflect on these thoughts for at least 5 minutes after this video. For now, I wish you a fantastic day or night ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day or night, everyone.